So you mentioned the XX, obviously another huge act on the label. Just tell us about the Young Turks XL connection.
Yeah, well, Young Turks is Kaya. See, Kaya used to run a club called Young Turks, and we met, and he just wanted to do more record label type stuff. So he was based at our place and putting out stuff on his label, and the XX was something that came through that basically. You know, they started sort of just being around, and yeah, I mean, it's just turned into what it's turned into in an incredibly natural and gradual kind of way. And I think everyone somehow can feel that as well.
Mm.
And I think people feel very affectionate towards them for that reason.
Yeah. Kind of the dream signing, really, where there's no effort to sign them. They're sort of unknown when you sign them, and then they go on to have this huge record that, kind of affects everyone.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's just happened very naturally.
I mean, they seemed a bit. I mean, they are shy people, and they seemed a bit bowled over by it all at the end. Obviously, with Mercury Prize and everything. Do you think what's their game plan? Lie low for a little bit and just let it all settle down, and then.
No, Jamie's obviously been very busy, and Jamie remixed the Whole of the Girl record, and has been doing lots of remixes and DJing, and they're also writing a new record. They're like halfway through writing a new record, so I think there'll be a new record next year.
Okay, cool. Adele, let's touch on Adele. I mean, this is the official Independent Charts podcast. Yes, gang. And last time we did this, Adele had like 75 records in the top 20. I mean, I exaggerate, but she was monopolising it in a greedy way, and the album chart as well. I think. I mean, is she one of your biggest kind of successes to date?
Oh yeah.
Has she sold more records already than some of your other biggest acts, or?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know I honestly don't know the figures. I mean, has she sold over 1 million?
Yeah. The figures are hard to keep a handle on, really.
Right.
It's just this Adele record is just some sort of naturally occurring phenomenon that no one can quite explain, including us.
So
it's really good, and that's obviously a fundamental part of it.
Yeah.
But the way that this is, I mean, it's going against every notion people have got of what's meant to be happening in the music business at the moment. This record seems to just fly in the face of it.
So who do you think's buying it, apart from everyone?
Everyone. I think our records tend to sell because of word of mouth. That is ultimately why they sell. We never have like huge airplay records, or very rarely. If you look at like all the people I've worked with, it's never really about radio, and the press obviously plays a part in spreading the word. But records sell because of word of mouth, because of people talking about them, and I think that's why this one's selling like it is, because people talk about it, just more than.
And her.
Those other things. And her, because people can feel how real she is and how likeable she is, because she is. That's just, it's very, very natural. And also, I think she talks about pain and loss. That's the subject of most of the songs, in a way which is very real and very relatable. And everyone has suffered pain or loss of some sort.
Yeah.
So, whether it's on a sort of whatever level it's on, everyone can relate to that feeling.
Yeah.
So I think everyone just relates to her, and she's able to. I don't know. I think it's a lot to do with how she writes the lyrics. That it's just believable, and also it's very. I don't know how much has been commented on. It's not cliched either. There's never any cliches. She's lyrically very, very good. Very underrated for that. Because of course these are things that lots of people want to write songs about.
Yeah.
But it's then very easy to fall into a trap of like, well, I've heard it said like that, but she actually puts it slightly differently. Never overthinks anything. And
like internationally, is she smashing it around the world as well?
Yes. Yeah. But like I say, I mean, I'm very pleased for her, and I'm pleased that's happening. There's a limit to how much I can really think about something like that, because that's not necessarily, there's the sort of the music and the making of the music and the artist, like all that stuff it's quite out of your control. Sometimes a lot of that happens, and sometimes none of it happens. And just as if you work on something that you really believe in, and it then doesn't become a success, it's quite important to not get too bummed out by that. On that basis, if something you're working on does become a huge success, it's also important not to get too
inflated. Yeah. Too inflated. Yeah.
Yeah, really, because either of those things can take away from the matter in hand, which is just getting good music out there and being involved in being involved in good things and making good things, and so that success is fundamentally about the past.
Yeah.
By the time someone's saying, "Oh, that's successful," well, that's something that you've already done.
Yeah.
A while back. So.
Yeah, she's probably already bored stiff with the album. Wants to get on with the next one.
Well, yeah, I mean, the promoting of these things now is pretty onerous. It's a massive undertaking, isn't it, for artists to do that now? And because there's a big old media now, big old system, that needs feeding.
Yeah.
And I'm quite keen to sort of not do that. I quite like the idea of art. And again, I mean, a lot of this stuff, you can kind of come back to Prodigy with it. They never went on TV. They did one TV appearance and they hated it. And they were like, right, we're not doing that anymore. Well, that was great, Well, why should you?
Yeah,
why should you?
Keep it mysterious.
Well, and also, why should you, doing this stuff is to avoid working for a living.
Yeah.
That's why we do it. You don't want a job.
No. Okay, right, we better start wrapping up. I just want to ask you one boring thing, just personally interested to know, like, without getting into actual numbers necessarily, but like what sort of percentage of, like, say the Adele album, like digital versus physical sort of CDs and stuff, like, do you I'm just interested how the record industry is in the 21st century, you got any idea on that?
No.
Okay. Moving swiftly on. Are the White Stripes ever going to get back together again?
No.
Okay. What do we do? What do we need to do to get Adele to play at a festival?
Well, because she hasn't done that.
I saw a quote from her saying, I think she said, I would literally, word beginning with S, myself, if I had to get on stage. It's not a stage fright. It can't be stage fright because she does big Brits type gigs, and what is it?
I think it's just a gut feeling that so far that hasn't been the place for her. Again, this is very similar to Prodigy saying we don't want to be on telly. Adele's good on telly, that works for her, but she hasn't thought festivals are going to be a good place for her up to now. Brilliant, really, because what artist ever does that? What artist now ever says no when they get offered those things? And she obviously gets offered all those things. She didn't do it on her first album. I mean, when you're an artist on your first album and you go and play a festival or wherever you're playing, you've only got one album. That's not a lot of material to choose from when there's artists there who've made a career's worth of albums. So I thought that was an interesting reason to sort of delay it. Now she's on her second album. No reason to rush it now, is there? It's something you can kind of do anytime. So I kind of love that. I mean, not that I think it's a bad thing if she decides to do them at some point, but I love the fact that she doesn't.
Fair enough. Okay. Finally, we've already had a little chat about this off air, and you're not sure you've got a specific track that you wish you had signed, or an artist that you wish you'd signed, but there might be someone out there that you've got a lot of respect for potentially.
Yeah. Well, I do remember when I got, I think it was the Analog Bubble Bath 12 by Aphex Twin, which is what Didgeridoo comes off of. I think that's right. I've got some of those early Aphex things have got slightly jumbled in my mind, but I'm pretty sure that's right. And I remember it not fitting into my DJ set at the time, and thus getting shelved a bit, kind of put to one side. And he subsequently signed to Warp, as he should have done. I think that was the predestined thing to happen. That Aphex Twin was very much the foundation of Warp, which I think is a fantastic label, and Prodigy was very much the foundation of XL. So that was meant to happen. But I do think Aphex Twin's is just an amazing and inspirational artist, just the way that he's done everything.
Thank you so much to Richard Russell for joining us, and long may XL rule the airwaves, or whatever it is that you do.
We don't have to rule anything.
No, you're not ruling, you're just championing and unearthing new gems for us, so thank you.
Thank you.